Hey Ali, how you doing? It's Mike. I'm gonna do your demo reel breakdown here. So I always like to start off with your main screenshot here at the beginning. You got your name, you got your title, email, phone number. Very straightforward. No super fancy font. I love it. It's perfect. One thing I would change is just make demo reel 2 words. It's just they're just 2 words. Okay, there we go. So let's start there. And then we'll go into your first shot. So this first shot I really like. It looks great. I think it's a really strong piece to start off with. A couple notes if you were going to be going back and revisiting this. The first is that we've got some really dark points here, especially in the grill and underneath the car. We're not really seeing too many of those super darks in the plate. I would lift those values a little bit because you want your black points and your white points to match the surrounding reference. It's a very, very important element to integrating a CG element into a live action plate. A couple other things. I would say that your windshield is like, it's a couple things. One, the car is kind of perfectly clean. I know it's raining out, but it looks like the windshield is more smudgy than it is covered in rain. And therefore I think I would want to see that cleared off a little bit. I also would like to see a little more wear and tear that a car would get, meaning I would like to see some like windshield wiper streaks here, if you could do that. And then also the edge of this is getting a little bit lifted. Like again, we've got these super darks all around here, and especially in the wheel wells, but up here it feels very lifted. I'd like to see a little bit more balance in those dark values even within the car. The headlights are on, but it would be cool to see a little bit more influence. Again, if there's rain coming down, we'd see the rain hit those headlights and kind of get illuminated as they pass. Maybe a little bit of a volumetric. But other than that, I feel like this is working. This is working pretty well. This is a really nice piece overall. This guy's very nice too. It moves by very quickly, so it's a little bit hard to see. One thing I would just make sure that whenever you're showing anything that you don't want to have too much noise here. Like this shadow feels very noisy. I know it's just like a look dev test, but I would just render that at a slightly higher resolution to avoid that as well. This guy here, let's see. So we've got some specular values that's great to have on here. But I feel like in the orange we could use it to create a little bit more shaping because the diffuse value is very, very even across these. These grapes look pretty good, but they feel like plastic grapes. They don't have that like subsurface scattering warmth to them. And then the biggest thing is like we're missing some of this ambient shadows that exist within objects. Like it would generally just be a little bit of ambient occlusion added to things, and then just some contact shadows, some reflections from these cherries into the plate here, and then reflections from this surrounding rug, carpet, tapestry thing up into the bottom of the plate here, because it's very white, but you still feel some of these reflections bouncing in there. Because again, like it looks like we see, I guess it's the banana, but not like really any. Like I see these grapes, but not the cherries themselves. So that would be the biggest notes on these guys, I think. Also, this leaf could use a little bit of specularity as well. This shot's pretty cool. I would just get a little more shaping on the eyes. And again, I don't know the source of this. It looks like it was probably done for a company. So I would say that you may not have access to this, but just making comments here so to help, because it's all for the purposes of learning and growing. I would just get a little more shaping on his eyes, make those kind of pop out from, because right now the tone of the sclera, it matches the body, and so it would just be nice to get those to read forward a little bit. And then there's a glow coming out of the gun here. It'd be nice to get that on him as well. But overall, there's some good shaping going on. In this set, a few things I would do. I would get some more. So one of the things I like to do in these types of things is to use light to create a visual path for the audience to lead to the source. So I think that a little bit of light spilling down into here would be good. I think that this tree is, a few things about the tree, it's looking a little bit flat, like we could use some more shaping on it. Like it's very even. Also, this branch kind of juts out and breaks up the profile of the house. I would just kind of trim that back a little bit if we can. This windmill is a little bit of an awkward scale because it feels like it's just about like as tall as a person, like using this door height as a reference. So it doesn't really feel like a windmill. And also like the darkness here matches the branch, so you kind of lose spatial recognition of it, so it's hard to tell what's forward and what's back. I'm really liking what you're getting here out of these branches kind of curving around and creating like a little bit of a natural vignette around it. That's very cool. I would also like to see maybe some volumetric light coming out of these windows, and just like a little bit of overall glow. It feels a little bit dry right now, and you could use some, like we're getting all this moisture in the plate. It'd be nice to get some of that moisture in the foreground as well. And now we get into the breakdowns. So one thing about the way that you structured this is you did all your beauty stuff first and all your breakdowns at the end. I would recommend kind of mixing them up, like showing one pass of your beauty, then showing the breakdown, then showing your beauty again, and go through your projects that way. I'll show you an example of that, but just kind of the way that I would do it. So this one's pretty nice. It's good to show all the breakdown. You don't need these the Maya screenshot things. I don't really think that they're helping explain the process. I mean, obviously, if we're looking at this, if it's a hiring manager, we know that you're working in 3D software, and that you're going to be using different lights. You don't necessarily need to show these hypershade breakdowns. They're just not really communicating a lot of information about what exactly you did. And it's just not really necessary in the field because again we know how to build shaders. There's nothing really proprietary about what you're doing there. It's just like kind of the standard way that we do that. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Love this breakdown with the reference image. I really like this dynamic of because it shows your understanding of the entire process. But again, like there's some things that aren't quite lining up, like the color and subsurface of these grapes, the darkness of the shadows in here. Again, like the specular on this apple versus what we're seeing here. This is much more of a sharp specularity than it is on the pear, which is a little more diffuse. And here they look very similar. But it's really good what you did here by showing the reference. I love that. It's perfect. Again, we don't need to show the Maya breakdown. Don't need to see the hypershade stuff. With this one, you don't necessarily need to include it in the breakdown section. You could just add this text into the original there. And then, let's see. I really love seeing this build up here on this side, but we don't need to see the EXR breakdown on this side. So I would say just leave that out and just focus here and then put a little bit of a like text dialogue in the bottom right hand corner that says like which layer it is, because it's even it's even a little bit too small. It's a little bit hard to read just in the node, so I would just put it like in a big title here and avoid all of this. Again, you skip the Maya stuff. And then this is a really good breakdown with the reference. Again, I really love it. And in the reference, you can see all this glowy light, like the glowy light on the windows, the glowy light around here, and it'd just be really nice to get that in there. The one thing about this reference that doesn't quite match up is that this is very blue versus this is a very green color. So, you may want to add a secondary reference just to show the color reference that you used for this one, because they're very different feels between these two. And the last thing I wanted to show you, it's good to end on your title slide as well. One thing I wanted to show you was a demo reel that I use as an example, because I think that this could be something that you could gear towards your, because there's a project on this that I really like that I would like to see you add to your demo reel if you're looking to build more to it, and that would be more character lighting. So the first thing that she does, and I think it's great, I recommend this a lot, is to add some character lighting in this way that you would, normally I would just play the full version and then do this breakdown, but this is totally fine too. You show the reference, you show the render, and you show the final output. Then you do it again. You show the exact same geometry, the exact same animation, you just use a totally different reference and you match that. So now the scene has a very different feel, it has a different story to it, and that's really what we're talking about in lighting. So what I like to do is to do that a few times with the same shot, and that really helps build your reel and create some strength to it. That's something that I know that we really react to, and I think hiring managers really enjoy. So I would recommend getting a character from, we've got them at TDU here. You can find one at Boutique 23 or several other places online. There's the Andy Rig, or you can go to forums where people are posting their characters and ask to borrow one of them. We have a lovely community out there, so it never hurts to ask. So I'll share the link to this in the comments or in the description down below. And if you have any questions, just let us know. All right, man. Happy lighting.